Well, folks, it's an exciting time. It's starting. We're starting to see XRP Treasury strategy similar to MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. We had some news of Vivo Power and Weebus adding XRP, and we're going to be discussing all of that and more. We're going to take a look at the chart, what to expect in terms of the price action and technicals in the days, weeks, months ahead. Spoiler alert, it's not looking too good here in the very, very short term, but overall looking very bullish on the longer term time frames. So we're going to see a ton of money flooding into XRP soon, and we're starting to see a complete paradigm shift here. And in my opinion, over the coming weeks, we're going to see massive full-blown alt season. Maybe even an ETF could be approved in June. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. In full disclosure, I do own XRP. It's my largest crypto portfolio holding. Probably accounts for about 80% now of my entire crypto portfolio. You can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPal. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So this was the news that broke. Vivo Power raises $121 million to launch XRP Treasury strategy with Saudi royal backing. And that was the same prince that Trump met a couple weeks ago. The NASDAQ-listed energy firm aims to be the first public company with XRP focus, with ex-SBI Ripple Asia executive joining as chairman of the advisory board. So this is huge news. We also had just breaking, Paul Barron posted on X, Weebus International Limited, a provider of AI-driven mobility solutions specializing in premium chauffeur services, announced a potential $300 million strategic financing plan to integrate XRP blockchain technology for global payment solutions, and renewed its nationwide partnership with Tongcheng Travel Holdings, one of China's largest online travel platforms. The non-binding financing, which may utilize non-equity funding like cash reserves, bank loans, we have shareholder guarantees, institutional credit, aims to support three initiatives: establishing an XRP reserve for instant, low-cost cross-border payment settlements, developing blockchain infrastructure, including wallets, Web3 loyalty tokens, and on-chain booking records, and accelerating global expansion. So basically everything that Bitcoin can't do. The partnership with Tongcheng extends the WeTour and Tongcheng intercity charter services, leveraging Tongcheng's for 240 million annual paying users to enhance Weebus's domestic network. And say Tongcheng 5 times fast. CEO Nan Seng highlighted the synergy, stating the Tongcheng partnership strengthens China operations, while XRP integration could revolutionize cross-border payments, you don't say, by enabling instant settlements and refunds. The financing plan awaits definitive agreements, and Weebus faces financial challenges with a 54% revenue decline to 5.3 million over the past year and a weak financial health score. Following the announcement, WeTo shares, WETO shares surged over 34%, reflecting investor optimism. And this is all happening around the same time. I mentioned this before the conference began. We have Bitcoin 2025. We have XRP Las Vegas 2025. I mentioned in the PAL Group private community that this is typically where the market sells off into these conferences. So usually when we have Bitcoin or XRP, usually the price is just stagnant or it starts to sell off, and that's exactly what we're seeing today. Bitcoin, I think, is very, very much due for a weekly higher low. This move off of the low here at 74,000 straight into a new all-time high. We didn't even change the weekly trend. We're essentially no longer in a weekly downtrend, but we didn't confirm a weekly uptrend either. So the trend's flat. That tells me that when we do pull back, it could be a pretty sizable one. And we have no support all the way down to 74,000. The fact that it came all the way from that support level all the way up to a new all-time high, like I said, we could easily pull back to 97,000 or 92,000, which would be a back test of EMA 12 and 26 respectively. I do think that that's a very real possibility. That means we could pull back from current levels. That's about 7% to EMA 12, and then EMA 26, you're looking at about 12.5%. So that could be headwinds and make the rest of the sector. So if that were to happen, the rest of the sector, including XRP, would more than likely sell off. And we could be flirting with that $2 area, maybe even a slight dip below $2 on XRP. So the S&P 500 was also a bit weak today. And we'll take a look at XRP. So we were looking at an hourly bull flag that has since been negated. And we also had an inverse head and shoulders, and that has since been negated. So we can remove that because we lost the 0.32 fib here. You can see here if we would have held that 0.32 fib, that would have maintained that would actually confirm the hourly uptrend, bull flag, and IHS all in one go. And we already had the EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So that was a little bit of clue that we were topping out. And another clue was that we didn't confirm an hourly uptrend. This was the hourly uptrend potentially here as well. And we topped out, formed an hourly lower high. I mentioned key support was going to be 227 earlier this morning in the Power Group private community. I said if we lose that, probably heading back down to 222. And then sure enough, not long after, we hit 225. So we're no longer expecting that bullish continuation pattern. So we can remove that from our charts. If we zoom out to the weekly time frame for XRP and reset here, you can see here that we did have a target of 217. And that's a real possibility that could come into play here in the not too distant future. If we take a look at EMA 26 here on the weekly, that's sitting at 212. So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we do come back to around that $2 mark, especially if we do see a pretty sizable pullback on Bitcoin down back below 100K, which I think is very possible. We have XRP Las Vegas starting, so a couple days, again, more than likely going to sell off. That's typical for these conferences. XRP on the weekly time frame, though, we're very close to seeing a weekly MACD bull cross. And if we just go here, not sure why that just zoomed out on me. Go to 1 year update. There we go. So you can see here we're very close to seeing that black cross against the red, and that would be a bull cross. You can see here we had a bear cross, and we've seen downside as a result, and we just had a stochastic bull cross. We're back above the 10-week moving average. We're just back testing it now as key support. And like I said, if we can get that MACD bull cross really over the next week or two, is looking very, very possible, at least sometime in June. I think it's going to be off to the races time and showtime for XRP. And like I said, we might even see ETFs approved for XRP and other altcoins in June. We could even see multiple. You know, we have Solana, Dogecoin, Litecoin, there's Tron, I believe now, XRP. So imagine if all these got approved simultaneously, that would create probably the biggest alt season ever. And if we get a market structure bill, we know that the Genius Act and stablecoin bill is pretty much a slam dunk. We could see market structure before August recess, and then ETFs all going live. It could be the biggest alt season like you never imagine. A Bitcoin reserve, strategic reserve, sovereign wealth fund, all of these things happening, adding to treasuries. Oh man, Ripple could announce an IPO. More than likely in 2026 it would be IPOing, but it could do the announcement towards the end of this year. But I would expect at some point late 2025. So all of the stars are aligning on the daily time frame here. We almost had a death cross, but it avoided that, and we're close to seeing a golden cross here with the 50-day. Just 4 pennies away from the 200-day moving average at the moment. But overall, we're holding those daily moving averages, and we do have the 50 there at 225. So if we were to close a candle below that, like I said, we'd be back down to around $2 in a hurry. But I do think that that's probably the most likely scenario. I'm putting that at around a 70 to 80% chance, just based on how extended we are on Bitcoin. We have no weekly support all the way down to 74,000. We haven't even formed a higher low. So I would expect us to come back down, form some sort of higher low. And if we do start weekly consolidation on Bitcoin, if we hold 97,000, that maintains the weekly bull flag. And then you just take your measured move there from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.32 fib. And it's saying the target is about $148,000 if confirmed. So we'll hope for a very short weekly higher low and consolidation period, and see if we can get that weekly bull flag. And then, like I said, all bets are off. I think we're going to be in for one hell of a bullish month next month in June. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. It's Rod with the Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll catch you again on the next video.